BRB UK. Worse teeth, better accents.
Hello and welcome to episode 625 of BRB UK. I am Coleman. Hi! And with me this week, well, first of all, not with me this week is Dan, because he had some emergency stuff he had to run off and do. And Tim, because he's poorly sick. He's got a hurty tummy. So everyone go give him words of encouragement and tell him what a big, brave soldier he is, and he can get through this. A man who can get through this, because there are significantly less people talking over him this week. It's the man they call Rick.
Thank you for having me.
I'm going to do the thing that I always screw up whenever you're on the show. And we're going to do it now, so it's done, and I don't screw it up later.
Bet you screw it up.
Plug your YouTube channel.
What's it called?
Game
What's
covered.
it called, Chris? There we go.
Game
That's
covered.
the first time you've got it. I actually had a speech fully prepared for if you messed it up today, but you got it right. So that's like 5 minutes of content just gone from the podcast right now. So yeah, as Chris said, I've got a YouTube channel called The Game Cupboard. If you want to check it out, I do about 2 videos a year. So it's not much of a commitment.
But they're good ones.
They are very good ones. Well, apparently. I'm currently working on a review retrospective for Parasite Eve on the PlayStation 1 that's currently clocking in at around 2 hours, and it isn't quite finished yet. So,
Currently.
yeah, you could watch that new Lord of the Rings anime that came out last year, or you could watch my Parasite Eve video. One of them is free.
There you go.
One of them is informative.
Good. What was the one you got massive numbers on last year?
Gregory Horror Show.
Gregory Horror Show. Go check that out. That's doing really well.
Yeah,
A game I didn't know existed.
Come on.
Sorry?
They'd make it do better. Come on.
Make it do better. Make Gregory Horror Show Gregory again.
Funnily enough, that completely hijacking the podcast now. That series went stagnant after that game. That game was a one and done. There was like 2 full seasons. I say full seasons of anime. The episodes are like 2 hours each, and then there was like 2 half seasons, and then it just disappeared for like 10, 15 years. The creator is just about to put out a new Gregory Horror Show game that's a 2D roguelite that's apparently doing quite well on early access. So
I think you should take the credit for that one.
I do.
Definitely
absolutely.
brought it.
I do, absolutely. In fact, I pushed the Kickstarter a little bit and backed it, so
Nice.
I'm not going to be covering that one on my channel because I've got like vested interest in it. So if it's shit, I'll be like, oh, you should play it because I need more of this series. It's a
Let's
great
get Gregory
series.
Horror Show back in the charts and back in
Yeah.
our hearts. Although I didn't know what it was until I saw your video. So
Little cardboard ghouls running around.
something I saw just before the show that got me super excited. Did you see that there's a reboot video game of Samurai Pizza Cats?
Why isn't this on the agenda?
I caught it too late. Otherwise, I would have it ripped and playing right now. But it looks really good. They've shown some sort of cutscene to begin it, and then they show the footage, and it looks sort of like a platformer hack and slash RPG.
Who's developing it?
I'm not sure off the top of my head. Let me do the quick Googles.
I love that show.
Samurai Pizza Cats.
Oh yeah.
That's going to be Blast Zero and Red Dunes Games.
I don't know either of them.
Me neither, but I'm looking forward to it. I like 90s
Yeah,
cartoon
that's good.
throwbacks, so let's do more
And
of that. And I
that
really like
one
art style.
is obscure. That is
Oh, yeah,
obscure, and I am
Especially in the
all for
UK.
it.
Like, it was way bigger in the US than it was over here. So, like down south, I don't think it got much traction on TV, and I used to watch it when I'd be up north visiting
Well, yeah,
relatives.
you're about
so
the only person that I know who actually saw it as a kid.
it had a banging theme tune. As
Yeah.
did most video game, most cartoons of the 90s. So.
Who do you call
Yeah.
when you want some pepperoni? Samurai
Alright,
Pizza
Pizza
Cats.
Cats.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Another blast from the past. I'm going to jump into this one straight away because not a new game, but I have been playing. I have been playing this week. Onimusha Warlords, because I've been preparing to get ready for the Onimusha 2 remake and then the remaster. And I'm hoping they do other titles before we get to number 5. Is it number 5? It is number 5, isn't it?
Yeah.
Canonically. And
I only just found out this week that there was a 4. I thought it ended with Jean Reno.
I thought the sort of bad taste of that one kind of ruined the franchise, and it turned out no, there was a much better one that was way more hardcore than this one. But yes, I've been playing Onimusha Warlords. There was a remaster released, I think, I want to say 6 years ago, 6 or 7 years ago, maybe. Yeah. But this is available. Obviously, it's available now on PC, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch for $15.99. I guess that bit out of the way. And if you're watching the video now, you can. I just put the trailer, and I didn't go for any like in-depth videos because I didn't want to talk about it too much. But it's it's got the glossy HD res graphics and then the improved controls, because this is a Capcom game of the time, and it did play like a bit like Resident Evil with a samurai sword, and they've removed the tank controls and put it into a dual thumbstick format instead. And while that's cool, it does make the game infinitely easier, I found out. So because back in the day I played this on easy, and you only get easy and normal, and then I think you can unlock like an insane difficulty, and I went straight into the normal. I did all the hard modes, and the optional go through all the, I think there's like 20, there's like a challenge mode type thing where you go through various levels of defeating enemies, kind of like the Bloody Palace from Devil May Cry.
DMC, yeah.
Okay. So it's kind of like one of those levels, and it's completely optional, but you get a cool thing that's used to unlock another thing at the end. And I just went straight in for that and beat it on the first go. And went, these controls really do improve the game, but they've kind of taken out a lot of the challenge by doing that. But
maybe you've just improved as a gamer.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I think, what was it, 2001 this came out on PS2?
I couldn't tell you. I've never played one. So I was about to correct you as well, saying that didn't come out 5 or 6 years ago. It came out 2 or 3. And then I thought about it, and the only time that I've ever played an Onimusha is just before that game came out. So me and my friend Simon on my channel used to do a weekly news show. It was about 30 minutes, and we'd cover 3 or 4 of the big gaming news stories for that week, get it out every Friday. One of them that we did was when that was being released. And we did that. I think we stopped doing that about a year or so before the pandemic, which was like 5 years ago. So my clock is all out of whack. But yeah, the closest I've come to playing one of those games is when I was covering that story of the release, and I booted up my PS2 version to capture the first 10 minutes of gameplay, so I had something to show on screen while we were talking about it. So I love Resident Evil. I love Devil May Cry. Would I like enjoy this, or is it
definitely
because it's one that I've been umming and ahhing about getting to? I own the HD remaster. I bought it on the Switch years ago and forgot about it. So it's one that I actually really want to get into because I like the look of the new one. But
yeah, I would definitely recommend it if you like those two things. It's got the puzzle elements and the back and forthing of a Resident Evil, but it's a hack and slash. But it's not super fast hack and slash. It's because it was meant to be, again, with tank controls. So
it was meant to be a Resident Evil game, apparently.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
But when it started
so was Devil May Cry, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's one of the things I love about Capcom is if they're developing something for like a flagship franchise and it just veers so far away from what it's meant to be, instead of killing it, if it's a good idea, they'll go, all right, yeah, let's put a team on it and put that out. And we get like new franchises that are just awesome out of them. So yeah,
take the zombies out, stick a demon in it, and that's our new franchise. Or a dinosaur.
Yeah. I love Dino Crisis so much, dude.
Yeah, that'll be next. But yes, I've beaten this. I played it entirely on Steam Deck, and again, this isn't a new release. I just wanted to kind of give some notice to it. If you were excited by the look of the new Onimusha game during the state of play, and you don't know where to start, you can literally just go back and play Onimusha Warlords because of the HD re-release. If you're playing on PC, I think you can get it. I think it was $6.99 on CD keys, so that's a fair old discount on that. Which I went for. However, I am playing on Steam Deck. It plays very well on Steam Deck. The only issue is that none of the versions of Proton seem to like the FMV sequences. So the first intro is very juttery. It's watchable and you can read the subtitles, but the audio's all out of sync. It's not great to listen to. But then there are certain cutscenes in the game that go missing, including like the intro and the outro to the final boss, which is a bit of a shame because because I went back and I watched all the cutscenes on YouTube afterwards, going, I'm sure it'll be fine. And then I realized that there's a couple of big things that happen at the very end of that game that get cut out just by a test card being in its place. Yeah. And I did look on Proton DB for the guys to, because they do a lot of testing, all the volunteers on there, and they're quite thorough. But I think the best one I saw was, hey, I fixed the intro cutscene by running this version of Proton. Breaks everything else in the game, but at least you can watch the intro cutscene. It's like, I think I'll just do YouTube. It's fine.
Weirdly, I had exactly the same issue with Resident Evil HD Remaster and Resident Evil 0. Was it Origin 0? 0, isn't it?
0, yes.
0, yeah, Resident Evil 0 on Steam Deck. Both did exactly the same thing. And Resident Evil 2 remake, actually. You know the bit where you find the VHS with the Umbrella operatives attacking Birkin?
Yes.
That, she put it into the machine and it was just a test card, which looked great for, like, as far as a bug goes, this one looked like really to the point. I thought, hang on a minute, if I hadn't played this on PS4 I knew there was supposed to be something here, I honestly would have thought this was by design. So yeah. I don't know if that seems to be an issue.
This cutscene's taking ages to start up.
I could hear it all perfectly. Saw these people getting mauled by this beast man, but I couldn't see it. So I think that's just an ongoing issue with Capcom ports for some very strange reason. It seems to hit a few of them. Yeah,
I'm wondering if it's the old, I forget the name of the engine before they like updated and started going by RE engine, but that version, maybe that's.
But two
problem.
remake uses RE engine, so it shouldn't.
Oh, there you go. Maybe it is RE engine. Who knows? Maybe could have been ported to that for the remaster. Who knows? But yeah, once again, that is available. Onimusha Warlords, the remaster is available on PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch. And it will probably be cheaper than trying to buy a physical copy for the PS2 as well. And it will look better. So go do that if you're interested. Now, the big one that everyone is talking about this week, if you're a Game Pass subscriber, most likely, is Avowed. Because this is probably so this is going to be like the big release at the moment from Microsoft and Xbox, but also it's Obsidian, who are kind of royalty of RPG creation, and this is meant to be one of their biggest games ever, if not their biggest games ever that they've ever released. So I hadn't been following this too much, and then the further back I went, it looked like from the teaser onwards, it looked like we were going to get the basically what Obsidian did for Fallout, but for Elder Scrolls. And I went, all right, I'm down for that. I like that. And then the further we've gone with it, the brighter it gets, the more colorful it gets, and things start taking a different turn. And it looks more lighthearted, even though it probably isn't lighthearted. But there's a lot more colors and characters and things that you wouldn't really be expecting from the initial stuff shown off. And
lots of pink and turquoise.
Lots of pink and turquoise, even the people. But if you didn't know, this is a first or third, depending on your preference, person RPG set in the world of Pillars of Eternity. This takes place in the Living Lands, which I don't know if that I've only ever played Pillars of Eternity in like a preview form for the site. I've never actually sat down
Eternity.
and gone through those. What am I saying?
Alternity.
Alternity. Oh, that's a new one. Yeah, certainly Pillars of Eternity universe. I don't know if you go to the Living Lands in those original games, but that's where it's set here. And there's some kind of supernatural plague that is roaming through the countryside, and it's called Dream Scourge. It's something that brings back the dead, but gives them like a horrible bloodlust. It's zombies. It's kind of shown off in the beginning cutscene of a rat that's come back to life, and it's covered in maggots and pus, and it's disgusting and starts to like roaring and things, and it's gross and horrible. So you play as a sort of a character that's sent out from the bigger kingdom of this world to go and investigate the source of this plague and see if you can stop it. And also, for some reason you're described as like someone who's been touched by the gods, and because of this, you look like those mushroom-headed bad guys from The Last of Us. So you go into your character creation, and then it goes, "Hey, you can have roots or fungus growing out of your face and your head, or you can hide it, but everyone around you will react like you still have fungus growing out of your face and your head. But that means you've been touched by a god, and you've been blessed by a god." Which is a bit weird. I've turned it off, but everywhere I go, people are just like, "Ooh, what's happened to your face?" I'm like, "Oh, but I tried to make it look like me, so that's really upsetting when you say that." But yes, so you go out in the world, and as you're sailing to the Living Lands, your ship is attacked by your own people. Oh no, what's happening? And then you go off, you find companions, and you're off on your merry way on your adventure. That bit, fine, liked that. I'm and you know, mystery involves along the way, and different powers and things. As RPGs go, kind of like Tim was describing last week on first appearances, it seems a lot lighter than you would expect from an RPG of this caliber, especially from Obsidian as well. But the more you play it and tinker around with it, you do find it's actually pretty in depth. It's just it's not surface level. It takes a while to start scratching away from things. But it does a thing that I really really like, where so as you're playing through and you start unlocking your points to go through your skill trees and figure out what you're going to put in. Are you putting in points into like charisma or skills or brute strength or all these kind of things? You would think, oh, I'm leveling up my character to be strong or to be a charmer or to be a magic user. And it turns out like each of them have different uses for each type of class. So if you're putting in skill points into something that will help you fire arrows at a great distance, it's also something that will make you more durable in hand-to-hand combat. So it has multiple uses, depending on what you're doing, which I really like the idea of. And it means it doesn't tie you down to what you're doing. Because when I usually play an RPG like this, I will go, I'm very basic. I will go sword, possibly a shield, out I go in the world.
Yeah.
And I think it wasn't until like my fourth go of Skyrim that I started going, right, I'm a magic user. Let's have some fun with this and power up and see where that goes. And I did the same with this. Sword, shield, off I go into the world. And along the way, you find a bow. And I was like, oh, I like the archery sections. Okay, so I'm a sword guy with a bow. And then you find a spell book and a wand. I'm like, oh, this is quite fun. But I do like the sword. And you get to carry two loadouts that you can swap on the fly. So I've gone sort of a melee combat that also relies on magic, and because you can use the magic as a sort of short form version of archery, Spelliarmus and knock things over. I kind of use it for that. So like one of the first times I've gotten rid of the bow because I'm relying more on magic, and that stuff's really fun. You've got like a basic attack that is similar to say like a Harry Potter. It's my only frame of reference with magic ones these days. And but then you've got the spell book, you can do things like cast fire and lightning ice and give yourself a shield. And then there's other abilities you can unlock along the way that can reflect on what you're using. So because I've gone for that slight magic build, I've got these I can summon these arrows that will then just go out into the world and then seek on one target, because I thought it looked a bit like the Guardians of the Galaxy
I was
thing,
about to say, that
that's
sounds
the
like
only
Guardians,
reason I went for it. Yeah, so all that stuff's really great. Where it's lacking a bit is I'm playing this on the PlayStation Series X.
On the what?
And sorry, what is wrong with my brain today? Xbox Series X. And I'm playing it on performance mode because I love those smooth and crispy frame rates. And less crispy and more crunchy in some places, because I've had moments where I had a very odd moment quite early at the start where I was talking to an NPC character and their frame rate had shot right down, but the background behind them was moving regularly. It was very odd. It was kind of like the Miles Morales thing where you in Spider-Man, where you slow down the frame rate but keep the world real, so it looks more the Spider-Verse stuff. So that was a bit odd. I've had a lot of texture popping as well, which is a shame because it's a very good looking world, which kind of takes you out of it when all of a sudden things start popping in and out of frame, which is a bit annoying. But other than that, I think, because this had quite a hefty patch day one, I looked at a lot of reviews that were complaining about the technical state of the game, and even saying that a lot of the patching that was going to be implemented didn't look like it was going to help with the specific issues that were plaguing the reviewers. And for the most part, a lot of that stuff isn't hitting me, which is great so far.
Yeah.
But yes, but otherwise, I'm only in for it for like a few hours. But I am enjoying it. I don't know if I don't know how well I'm going to stick with this. Because it is fun, but Pirates, Like a Dragon just turned up, so I want to be playing that next.
Are you still in the starting area, or have you moved on to the next?
No, I'm well out of the starting area now. But yeah, it's fun. I like as well. They've done this really cool thing with the way the characters speak when you're talking to an NPC. They've added a lot of kind of character movement and facial features, the way they speak and they emote. And on one hand, it looks really, really cool. And I don't know if it's just a console problem, but on the other, it looks like they've got like a stiff face that's then suddenly really animating well. And it kind of looks like, have you ever seen on like Instagram or TikTok or one of those things where someone will act like an anime character and they'll do all the
oh god
facial expressions? It's kind of a bit like that. It's like something very unnerving about it.
Yeah, that sounds awful. Yeah, it's what I was interested in but I don't like first-person games much, so I didn't realize that you could switch the camera perspective. So I might give it a go now because I really enjoyed Pillars of Eternity.
Yeah, I assumed this would be like Skyrim, where they did put in the advertising. For some reason, people wanted to play third person over first person. There was kind of a big groundswell for it, and they're like, "Don't worry, you can play it third person." And then when you do, you're like, "Oh, this needs to be first person." This time round, I've been seeing a lot of reviewers that are saying that it plays really well in third person. Like, it actually feels like a third person mode, not just like the camera's zoomed out a bit and there's a character like ragdolling around when they walk. So
yeah,
that's good.
they've actually put animations or like thought into the animations and stuff for the third person.
Anyway, I'll probably give it a bit more time before I make a final decision on it. It seems like it could get a little repetitive. It's weird as well. There's some dialogue. It seems, because everything's so colorful and shiny around you, and the way people are kind of cutesy in the way they talk to each other at sometimes, it feels like you're playing a For All the Family type game. Then all of a sudden they'll just drop an F-bomb out of nowhere. Like, where'd that come from? It feels really jarring. It's like that the first Ted film, when you're watching that, and at some point it just turns into, it's like, I feel like I'm watching like a normal family film, and then you forget like they draw Garfield's face on some boobs, and then there's marijuana and stuff going on in that film. So it's got that kind of weird jarringness when that happens in a game that doesn't feel like it deserves it. But otherwise, yeah, I'm intrigued by this game. I'm going to play some more of it, I think. Yeah, but that's all the games we done played this week. And we should jump into the news. I need a news stinger. We should get a news stinger. What could we use for a news stinger?
I mean, I would say the BBC News at 10 from the 90s, but you probably get shot by the king for that.
Did you say Thames Television? Of course. News. Yeah. So starting us off this week, there's the announcement of a Pokemon Presents that is coming on the 27th of February. And the reason for its significance is it's happening on Pokemon Day. Woo.
Not Pokemon Day.
Pokemon Day. I didn't even get you anything for Pokemon Day, Rick. Bad friend.
I just wondering why it's on a Thursday and not a Monday. That's what's throwing me a bit, to be honest. But it was right there. You had 7 days to choose from, and you picked the only one. It sounds like a very.
I'm assuming
move.
It's the day it released or something. I don't know. I never look into this stuff.
Idea.
But yes, Pokemon Day. You can go watch a Pokemon Presents event over on the Pokemon YouTube channel at 2:00 GMT. So we will most likely be reporting on that directly afterwards because that's when we live stream a couple of hours after that. There's no announcements of what that is going to include. The safe money seems to be Pokemon Legends Z2A, which was confirmed. Was that last year or the year before they announced that was coming?
The year before.
But that's the only Pokemon game they've announced as releasing in 2025. So I think that's a safe bet to assume we'll see more of that.
Yeah, but if it's not there, then
we riot.
Chances. Though, because I was thinking about this earlier when it was announced. It's a safe. People are saying, "Oh, it's definitely going to be a Switch game," but Legends Arceus ran like trash. It didn't run very well at all. It was like 3 frames a second, really bad. If they do show something for Z2A, then it's a safe bet that it's going to be released on the Switch. If it's not there, that game's been moved to the Switch too.
But
because they're not going to show it before the reveal.
I mean, something I'm interested for with the Switch 2, because we know there's backwards compatibility with Switch games to Switch 2. We don't know if that is just a straight backwards compatibility or if there is some kind of enhancement provided,
like a performance
like
mode, which
PlayStation
nice.
Pro or something. Yeah. So who knows? They could announce it and then see what happens. You seem to like Arceus, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, I loved it. That one. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
Like I said,
I got into Scarlet Violet. Like yeah, we both had games that run pretty badly on the Switch.
Yeah, but first Legends game, Arceus, was fantastic. So there is that part of me that's like, I do hope that it does get pushed to the Switch 2 instead, or they just had new people working on it with a new engine, because the Pokemon company really need to update their stuff, because they are making games that would run like trash on the PS3. It's quite bad.
How about I don't even know where I was going to go with that now. I had a dumb joke in my head. How about Arceus remastered?
I would play it. Or if they dropped a patch, if they just patched it for the Switch 2 and went 60 frames and textures that actually load in, I'd play through it again, happily. Because that's all I want from this new one. I'd want that gameplay, but running well. And it's kind of... Oh, go on.
No, I was just ending. Sorry.
And it's kind of bad when you look at those games and how poorly they run, and just like how badly optimized they are for the hardware, when you've got games like Xenoblade Chronicles that run like a hot knife through butter, which are far bigger and far more exhaustive on the hardware. So, yeah, I'm excited for Z2A, and I do hope that they show it, because I want to actually see it in action. But also, I've been very about Pokemon games for the last 5 or so years. Because
I think after Scarlet Violet, that was the one that made me go. I mean, we haven't had one since then, to be fair, but that was the one that made me think twice, and sort of about not just Pokemon games on the Switch, but Switch in general. I kind of pared back from using the Switch a lot more, and went for ripping the games and sticking them on PC in some cases for the ones that I really wanted to play, but otherwise just kind of stepping back in general and going, right, Nintendo Switch 2 can't be that far away, and lo and behold, it's like 2-3 years later. So yeah. Anyway, that nicely leads us into Pokemon Go, because Niantic have been in the news this week. So Bloomberg, they've put out a report saying that Niantic are they're in talks to sell to is it Scopely?
Yeah.
Yes.
The
for a deal. Yes, for a deal that is worth $3.5 billion. And that is huge, because it would be their whole the whole gaming sector of the business that would be sold over to them, which would, I'd assume, include Pokemon Go. I don't know if there's some kind of Pokemon company licensing that would stop that transition. And I believe they made a Harry Potter game as well that was a similar type of thing, that I don't know anyone that ever played it.
They've got... Is Monster Hunter... Theirs is Monster Hunter Now? Is that Niantic too? I think it is.
Possibly.
Yeah.
So I remember them advertising it.
They've got a whole lot of game licenses.
It was the Pokemon Go thing. Like, once the craze kicked off, it's like, oh, well, now we can make loads of these games based on different licenses. Like, none of them are taking off. Do you remember they were doing a Minecraft one? I don't know anyone that did that.
Yeah. I forgot about that.
Go to the real world and build a Minecraft structure by the Thames.
I know there's a Dragon Quest one as well. Yeah, there's a Dragon Quest one.
So the reason that Scopely are being brought up is because they are Saudi Arabian owned. So they were acquired from Savvy Games Group for $4.9 billion in 2023. And they're known for publishing mobile games like Stumble Guys, Marvel Strike Force, and Monopoly Go. I think Strike Force is closed down now. So would be a nice fit with the mobile stuff, but I know some people, myself included sometimes, bit iffy about Saudi Arabian business
Strike
deals.
Force closed down. I know people were leaving because when it was bought, when they were bought and they acquired the license, they stuck up, I think, 4 battle passes a month. 2 every 2 weeks. So if you wanted everything, it'd cost you $80 or whatever the equivalent over here is. So they were nickel and diming everyone. They became very pay to win, or even just pay to play on a free to play game. They just paywalled everything. I was reading about it earlier when I saw that they were the ones who bought them. I can't remember if you covered them buying. Well, I can't remember if you covered that purchase like a year or two ago when it happened, but it sounds vaguely familiar.
Sounds like something we would have done.
So yeah, looked into it for this. People were not happy with what's gone on with that game, and it has been hemorrhaging players. But the whales are obviously keeping it afloat because of how severe the monetization on it is now. So if
I'm probably mixing it up for one of the 20 billion other Marvel mobile games that have been shut down.
You might be mixing up with the card game that got shut down.
There was that one-on-one fighter, something of Champions. I think that got shut down.
Might have been that Marvel Champions or something. There's so many of them.
Something like that.
But
there are so many Marvel mobile games.
But yeah, I think this is something. So there's two big things to do with this story. First one is the state of the games after Niantic aren't in charge of them anymore, because Pokemon has become incredibly monetized anyway. I stopped playing it after the first year, and everyone was over it. My girlfriend still plays it, and I'll check in every now and then to see how she's getting on. And it's like, oh yeah, well, there's this and there's this, and you got to pay for this, and you got to pay. I'm like, this is insane. That the monetization has gone absolutely crazy. So that's going to get worse. That is going to get so much worse. But then there's also the question of like, is that game going to survive? Because we don't know anything about the intricacies of the license agreement with Nintendo or the Pokemon company. is that something that they're going to be able to take with them, or are they just taking the talent? I guess because unless Nintendo put out a JPEG that says like Mario says Yahoo to human rights violations, I can't see them like being very supportive of like a company with who leaves such a bad taste in people's mouths, being in charge of their IP.
Well, we'll see. It's funny you say about the Marvel Strike Force, the $80 season passes. That's literally what people are complaining about with Call of Duty this week, because they released a Turtles pack, and if you want all 4 turtles and to the ability to unlock Splinter and all these other things as well, then
Like
it costs you
$20 a turtle or something.
$20 a turtle, something like that. I can't remember.
Good
And then
lord.
there's the actual season pass that is costly as well. 2 different foot costumes. It's good, isn't it?
This like the reason that I didn't do anything during the what have you been playing? I haven't played a single new game this year, and we're nearly finished with February. Like, yeah, I'm getting Monster Hunter Wilds, but everything else has just been stuff in my collection or retro games. I hate what gaming's become, like, or mainstream gaming, should I say? I hate what mainstream AAA gaming's become.
And that's why Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is probably going to win Game of the Year in a bunch of different places at the end of this year. Good game.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Right. Moving on. Ubisoft, they unveiled Siege X. What is Siege X, I hear you ask?
What is Siege X, Coleman?
Kill. Siege X is the new update for Rainbow Six Siege. So it's not Rainbow Six Siege 2, it's Siege X, which they've put a little tease trailer out there.
Skip straight to 10.
I know. They put a little tease trailer out there, and they're going to do a full reveal in March. So I think this has been going for more than 10 years now, or 10 years. I think that's why the X.
Really?
I remember Siege coming out.
Wow.
I remember Siege coming out. I remember trying it and going, wow, this is janky. And it was on launch. And then it got fixed very quickly, to be fair, but I did not stick around. But that game it's one of the biggest like comebacks in video games. Like it's huge. A game of that type, it's probably the biggest that exists out there. So going strength to strength. So it's time to give it the overhaul and speed things up, move it onto new platforms, do everything that you need to, because it is a live service now. And yeah, we'll probably report on Siege X if it takes our interest on March 13th at the Siege X showcase when that is revealed.
Okay.
Any interest in Rainbow Six?
None at all.
You love it. What about Rainbow Six Extraction? Did you like that one?
You mean Rainbow Six Quarantine?
Was it Quarantine?
That's what it was called.
Oh no, they changed the name because of COVID.
They changed it because of COVID. Yeah.
Yes, it became Extraction. I liked that.
I read Tom Clancy novels. Got no interest in this. Like Vegas 2
when
was
did the aliens attack in the novels?
When Sam Fisher puts his goggles on, I'm guessing.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I haven't played a Rainbow Six game since Vegas 2, and I don't do online PvE because I just don't like people. So I can't be doing with some random American calling me the N-word because I didn't breach the wall when I was supposed to. So I'll stick to my PS1 classics, thanks.
All right, moving on.
Anyway.
Last one this week. We've got a little gaming for good section that Tim wanted me to add a little bit of a spotlight to. So, as you know, we're involved in the Great Ormond Street Hospital charity Gosh, Geek Out for Gosh. That Tim's he was.
I hate that name
quite
so much.
Geek Out for Gosh. I don't think they use it anymore. I think it's just Gosh now.
Just Gosh. Where I'm from, goshing was spitting.
Oh.
So if you goshed on someone, this is like at school. So, oh yeah, it's covered you in gosh. Like I went to a horrible school, horrible people. But yeah, gosh was a slang term for spit. So all I can see is like gaming for gosh and all this, and I'm like, so much saliva.
Well, be that as it may, they are looking to fund a new children's cancer centre at Great Ormond Street Hospital. And to help raise funds, they are doing the Play It, Build It, Beat It sale over on Steam, where you can get discounts for games like the Moving Out, which is a brilliant game,
Great.
Escapist 2, another brilliant game, the Overcooked franchise, all the Overcooked games, another just all great games if you want to argue with your partner. And Survivalists, which I don't know much about Survivalists, but there's one that's not
Probably a
on my
great
list, so I should
game.
probably check it out. Probably a great game because it's part of this sale. And Team 17, now they've joined up, so you're seeing that's why you're seeing their titles on there. But go check it out. I'll put a link in the show notes. It all goes to a good cause. You know, what better cause can you do than trying to help kids fight cancer?
Just not
You look
spit
like
on
you
them,
want to say
hopefully.
something inappropriate.
I do. But I'm not going to.
Okay. Well, I'll put a link in the show notes, so go check it out. Or you could just Google Gosh charity sale, play it, build it, beat it.
Sound
Play
like
it,
you're singing
build
a
it,
Daft
beat
Punk
it.
song.
I was just thinking that. Anyway, that is all the news we've got time for this week. So we are going to get ready to wrap up, but not before I tell you that if you want to support the show and BigRedBarrel.com, you can go over to tpublic.com/stores/BRB. Over there, you can buy a full range of merchandise that's not just Big Red Barrel related, but video games related. And the money goes back to the artists that have created said T-shirts. You've got things like the Sonic the Hedgehog. You've got Street Fighter, and then you've got some Big Red Barrel UK stuff from Bleezy, our good friend and artiste extraordinaire. And of course, we have a picture of Dan's face ripped from a Sky One TV show he appeared on as a teenager and has been reformatted into a T-shirt. So by buying that T-shirt, you can wear Dan's face on your own body. So go do
or
that.
you can find out where he lives and wear his face on your face for real.
Please don't do that.
Don't do that. I do not endorse
No.
such behavior.
Do not endorse such behavior, but I do endorse
do
you going
I?
to tpublic.com/store/BRB and spending money with reckless abandon. And talking about going into public places and upsetting people, go to Tabletop Tuesday at the Loading Bar in Stoke, Newington. There you can find Tim Hibbs, where he likes to go and do some hosting. What they do over at Tabletop Tuesday is they'll get a featured game each and every week. There is a featured game, and if you go and play that featured game, you get entered into a raffle, and if you win the raffle at the end of the night, you take the game home. Sounds like a good deal, right?
It's a very good
And you
deal,
might be
Chris.
you might be thinking, Rick, how much does it cost you to go to Tabletop Tuesday?
I was just thinking, Chris, how much does it cost to go to Tabletop Tuesday?
Nothing. You can just turn up and start playing. I mean, I'd buy a drink or something. Don't be a dick. You know,
And,
you are
you know,
in a bar.
got to pay to get there, haven't you? So really, it just ends up costing you a lot. Might as well stay home.
Hey, I've seen a lot of tabletop nights, especially in London, where they charge you an entry fee to
An
go
entry
join in.
fee.
Entry fee. You don't have to do that at Tabletop Tuesday at the Loading Bar in Stoke, Newington. This week's game is this week's or is this last week's? I don't know because Tim never puts a date on these things.
Just say it anyway. If it's wrong, it's his fault, isn't it?
Happy Home? Did we talk about Happy Home last week? I have no idea. Tim, don't get mad. Oh, yes, no, that is this week. I remember now. It was Flip 7 last week. Happy Home is the game this week. Go check that out from Alley Cat Games. That will be the game that you could win over at Tabletop Tuesday at the Loading Bar in Stoke, Newington. It's not the best plug, but it was to the point, I think, apart from the ad-libbing.
Yeah, you did a good job.
Thank you. And if you would like more video game type content, then you should definitely check out Game Cupboard, the Game Cupboard, Electric Boogaloo Game Cupboard. Look at the cupboard. Look at the games that are in that cupboard. Ooh, if I wanted a cupboard full of games, where could I go, Rick?
It's my house, look, apparently. youtube.com/thegamecupboard, where I'm hoping to get the new video on Parasite Eve out on the 1st of March, but I'm cutting it very, very close.
go back and check out the Dirge of Cerberus retrospective and then harass Square Enix for a new version of Dirge of Cerberus. Because they have no
Specifically,
plans and it will really annoy them.
Ed. Just ask for Ed. Ring up their office, ask for Ed, and then
Just
say,
Ed.
just Ed. And then say, can we have a new game, please?
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
And if you've got this far in the show, you're a weirdo, but we love you all the same. Be sure to go to bigredbarrel.com over there. That's where this here website, that is the website where this here podcast is hosted, along with other podcasts, when they're about. And, might be a VR one at some point this year, I think. Maybe. We'll see. And also our articles, trailers, all the kinds of things that are over there. bigredbarrel.com. Check it out. And also there, we have links to our social media sites, and we also have a link to our Discord. You can go to Discord. You can say hello. You can chat with us. You can do that on any platform, really. But over on Discord, you might want to go there. You might want to get into a bit of conversation with the old BRB UK lads and community, and then go and ask us a question in such a style where you say, I have a question, such as mild and creamy. The best username. Makes me feel all gooey inside. He says, I have a question. Leaving aside VR, Tim, what has been the one developed in gaming history? I think I may have written that down wrong, or he's written it wrong, but we'll see. What has been the one development in gaming hardware that has increased immersion in this generation? I'd say VR, but I'm not allowed. Oh, he also says, and why is it the adaptive triggers for the PS5 controller? I would agree with that.
I wouldn't, because I find them to be very flimsy and just not integrated as much as they should be. Like the best example that I've seen for those triggers was on the Demon Souls remake. And like when I didn't play it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Astrobot.
but that's two games, two exclusives out of like 20 that the PS5's got. It's been out for 5 years. People aren't using them properly. They should have been fun, but I don't think enough people are using. All I'm getting is, oh no, it's just the buttons feel a bit stiff when you pull them down now. Well, that's not
I
good, is
would
it?
say the perfection of HD Rumble, which is something that was introduced into Nintendo Switch, wasn't utilized very well unless you played 1-2 Switch like me, like an absolute psychopath. But also with some games that tried to utilize it, it just made the Joy-Cons rattle too hard. So I'd be playing in public on my commute, and then I'd be playing something as simple as LA Noire, and then all of a sudden everyone looks at me because my Switch is going. It just makes this horrible noise when it's vibrating.
Yeah, I had that recently.
on the PlayStation 5 controller, I found that's a lot more improved. You're not going to notice unless you're leaving it down on a flat surface or something. But again, when you go to the likes of Astrobot, that character walks through grass. It feels like he's walking through glass. He walks over glass, and you can feel it like tink, tink, tink in your hand, but also it plays it out the speaker. It's all these things we've had from previous generations, but just brought together and improved upon. And outside of Astrobot, like the biggest cases seem to always be, hey, you know this game that you really liked on the PS4? Well, it's on the PS5 now, and we're making full use of the controller. So Death Stranding, soon to be Days Gone, The Last of Us Part 2, they all utilize the controller really well. It's just that they've gone, yeah, okay, we're doing it on this, but it's from this generation. Why my favorite PS5 games are from PS4.
I don't know if it's cheating or not, to sort of misappropriate question, but I'm just gonna say for me, it's just the Switch in general. It's not immersive in that, you said about the rumble and all this, but the ability to just be able to drop it in your TV or pick it out and keep playing, it keeps you immersed in what you're doing. It's really easy to just keep locked in on something. So for me, it's the whole Switch thing, like playing, and that's one of the reasons that I use remote play for my PS5 on my Steam Deck. so I can switch to hand. Yeah, I can only do it in the house, but the ability to just jump seamlessly from TV to handheld. So like my girlfriend can watch something, or if I'm grinding on an RPG, I can dual screen it. Because if I'm doing that on the TV, it can become very, very boring if I'm just running in circles, fighting random battles for several hours. But if I can pull it out and then second screen it, I'm keeping it on, I'm keeping immersed in that game, and it's just making the whole experience far nicer for me. So yeah, like that's how I'm looking at immersion. I'm gonna say the second screen experience.
It's less known now for me than it was when the Switch first launched, but like that kind of thing of I know a lot of people. There was this whole argument with the Vita. The Vita came out and they had these big games and no one played them. And then they went, "Oh, this is what you need: smaller indie games. Pick up and play games on your Vita." I was like, "No, I want to be able to take Uncharted out and about. That is what I bought this system for." And with the Switch, it kind of had that thing very early on of going, I'm playing Breath of the Wild on my TV. Now I've taken it out and I'm playing it on the tube. And this is absolutely amazing. Games will never get better than this. And they got better than this. But it's at the first time, like that novelty was amazing. And I'm sure it will be again when we get to Switch 2. But again, as we said previously, as the hardware goes further, the optimization is lessened and it's not as impressive going, I'm picking this up now and taking it out because like, I've had this blown out, horrible looking image on the TV and it doesn't look right, like Bayonetta. Yeah, I mean, not so much a gaming feature, but I would say the using the recyclable packaging on the PlayStation stuff. I've been really impressed with how they've done that. So I know again it's a cheat because I think they introduced this for the PlayStation VR initially in the PS4, but when the PS5 came out, it's like here's a fully cardboard box, all the innards are cardboard, all the packaging is biodegradable, like even the twist ties are made out of paper. So it was cool. I like that stuff. I like that you can fully compost your PlayStation 5 get up. It's cool. All right. One last question. We got Joke Sound, or as we like to call him, Ed. He says, former WWE commentator Jim Ross would sometimes call matches bowling shoe ugly or kiss your sister level bad. What have you played recently or lately that mostly fits either of those descriptions? What bad games have you played recently, Rick?
Nothing. I'm nearly 40. I ain't got time for bad games.
Yeah, I can't think of much.
Yeah. I literally
Wow.
have not played a bad game in so long because, again, either retro stuff that I know is good. I've just played through the whole Metroid Prime. Also, I've just played through all the 2D Metroid games. They're great. But I knew that they were before I played them.
Yeah. I wouldn't say I wouldn't say it's bad per se into that level, but disappointing I think would be the Horizon Lego game because of the optimization. Do you know what? Something that's really annoying me about this generation of games at the moment. It's the over reliance on like AI upscaling, DLSS, and all this stuff seems to be ruining the games because if it can be used as a shortcut, it's used as a shortcut. And now we're just ending up with very blurry looking games.
Yeah.
And I don't like it. Like I took a look at I was taking a look at all the digital foundry stuff for the PlayStation 5 Pro upscale for a lot of stuff using the PSSR. And, I was expecting it to go, hey, we've fixed Final Fantasy, or hey, we fixed Star Wars Outlaws, or hey, we fixed the other Star Wars game I think, Jedi other one.
Power Battles? Survivor?
No. Jedi Survivor.
Survivor,
Jedi
yeah.
Survivor in particular, because that was one that I couldn't play the level hub because it was so busy and big that it chugged and made me feel travel sick. Looking at that footage, I'm like, oh, it's smooth now. It plays better. Why is everything still so fuzzy? Why is everything still so blurry? I don't understand. Why are we doing this now? It looks like all the games are like really good versions of Dreams games.
The last, this is how long it's been. The last game that I played that I would call Kiss Your Sister bad Like, and this is the most recent one, is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and that was a year ago.
Bad.
That
It's just the performance.
dude, it's such a bad game, and I feel like I'm screaming into the void when I tell people like this is bad because of this reason, and they go, "But there's so much content; it's really good." Like, just because it's massive doesn't make it good.
Really bad
Ask
impression.
your mum.
I like it.
I really don't, man. But
I just wish it.
Let's not
ran
get
better.
into it. I just
wish.
I just wish it was not crap. It's fucking awful. It's so bad.
I'll tell you a good one I saw the other day. Hogwarts Legacy, which was a game I was raving about when that came out, and I finally beat it, and I really enjoyed that game start to finish. That game, you put it onto a PlayStation 5 Pro, it performs worse than on a PlayStation 5.
Great.
And it's meant to have a PS5 Pro patch, you know? Very weird. Anyway, this generation's very odd.
Yeah.
It all started, it got stuck in the blocks at the beginning because of COVID, and it's just sort of never reached. It doesn't feel like a new generation in a lot of aspects. It just feels like we went, yeah, PS4's a bit more powerful, Xbox One's a bit more powerful. There it is.
And that's
waiting for that wow moment.
That's fine. Like I am fine with where game visuals are as long as the performance is there. Like I don't care if games look better now. All I care about is performance. Personally, I want to be able to play something smooth.
Wowed. I want that feeling of when my friend brought over his PlayStation 2, plugged that bad boy in, booted up Dead or Alive, and I looked at my copy of Tekken 3 and I went, why do you look like that? Why don't you look like that?
But you see,
looks
for me,
amazing.
I get that. I get those kind of reactions more from like stylistic over ultra realism. Like there were certain points when I was playing Visions of Mana, and you step on a cliff and look over the horizon, and it just blew me away because it was like looking at those games have very specific style, concept art and cover art, and like you look at the boxes and stuff of those games, it has a certain look, and they managed to bring that to life. And like that game's just it's not even cell shaded. It's just kind of 3D anime looking with some nice coloring, but they really managed to do something special with it. And it's not the best looking, the most realistic looking game in the world at all. But when it hit, and like I'd rather you tone the visuals down and do something within limitations, and because that's what leads to exciting looking games when you can go, okay, well, we need to get it running like this. We obviously can't have polygons this high, textures this detailed. What can we do? And then you come up with a really stylistic thing, and you do something that stands out. Like that's the stuff that wows me personally over the ultra real looking stuff.
Okay. I like the ultra real stuff. I just rebought Detroit Become Human. Yes, because I saw it was Steam Deck verified. I've been umming and ahhing over buying that a second time, and this time I actually pulled the trigger. And I booted it up and I went, it's mad that this fits in my hand and it plays better than the PS4.
The thing is, I won't be able to take that game seriously because like the main actress in it is her from The Boys.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all I'm going to
say. That guy from Cabin in the Woods.
Which one?
The black guy who's getting smarter as the in Cabin in the Woods. He's the android. He's the main android boy.
Is he in Cabin? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The only Cabin in the Woods guys I remember is Hemsworth and the hippie who was stoned for it.
The guy who looked like Shaggy.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's leave it there. We should get out of here because I've got some editing to do because I've got an early start tomorrow. So, Rick, thank you for filling in. It was tragedy at the last minute. The whole of the show got taken out except for me. So it would have been an hour of me talking to myself.
Yeah, then you just pulled in the worst possible choice because I've not played anything in so long. I could talk to you about
I was hoping
PS1
you talk about
games.
something old, like me.
I would.
I'm playing
happily,
Onimusha Warlords, and you go, I'll see your PS2 game, and I'll raise you a PS1 game.
I didn't realise that was an option until I
It could be an
looked at
option.
the agenda and went, crap. But I didn't really want to talk about Parasite Eve because I've got my big breakdown of it coming up March the 1st, the game covered on YouTube. Check it out. But I would happily have waxed poetic about the Metroid series with you for half an hour because I've just got into that series and it's incredible. Why did I not play it before now?
There you go.
It's wild.
Hey, we could do retro stuff from time to time. We had an Amiga retrospective that went down very well, so...
Excellent. I'll be well up for doing some retro stuff with you.
Let's do some retro stuff. Let's think of some retro stuff and do it. So, for episode 625 of BRB UK, I have been Coleman.
I've been Rick.
Everyone's dead. And until next time, dear listeners, dear viewers, thank you for watching, thank you for listening. Goodbye.
Your ears are quite welcome
for the podcasting goodness that you just heard.
Why not roll on over
to BigRedBarrel.com
for more podcasts,
news, reviews, and videos from the biggest, reddest site on the internet, BigRedBarrel.com.
Yep.
Production, innit?
Yeah.
So, grab your favourite beverage and get ready to raise a glass while
Going
listening
for
to
gold.
the BRB UK podcast.
Right.
Take a sip